Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone. It's me, Erica. And I just woke up like 20 minutes ago. So if I sound groggy, that is why. But good morning, good night, good afternoon. I started off the video just with me reading a book. I finished The Art of The Perfectionist's Guide to Losing Control, and it was I think for most people it's going to be a 5-star, especially if you have little to no therapy experience, but if you have been through therapy like I have, it's more like a 4-star. A lot of information that I already knew, but it sort of felt like free therapy, so I would recommend it to anyone who's been wanting to try therapy but like can't afford it or doesn't have access, doesn't want their parents to know. But as you can see, now we're working on Valentine's Day scratch-offs, which this was not my idea. I stole this from Pinterest. I'll link down below the pin where I got it from. And then I just went on Procreate and kind of drew myself some cards in my perfect pink and red color scheme that I do. But these are super cool. So what you do is I did 3 hearts, right? So you write a prize on one, and I have a finished one in the upper corner for my boyfriend, and now we're working on one for one of my best friends. And you write like the prizes on this scratch off. I'll link these somewhere for you guys to download. They work with 4x6 postcards or index cards, or I printed these on cardstock and then, used a trimmer to cut them out. But you write down what they would win. And then you get some tape of some kind. I used Scotch tape. I don't know how it would work with, like regular tape. And then you tape over the stars. You can be as exact or not as you want. These are for guys, so they don't care. You tape over them, and then you paint acrylic over them. And then they work as a scratch off. Like if you grab like a penny or a coin, I think you could probably use your finger too, but they work exactly like a scratch off. So I did some silly things for my friend. He's not gonna watch this, which is good because then it would reveal to him which option is which. We have an inside joke option where I already owe him dinner and dessert for like doing various things for me, like getting on Xbox when I wanted or something like that. So there's an appetizer in this mix for him to win and just complete his meal, and that would be funny. And then some of them are just like $10 towards your next video game purchase, or like if you want a Call of Duty skin, something like that. But these are super cute. You can make them for your friends, for your family. Again, I made one for my boyfriend and one for one of my best friends. I was gonna make it for my female best friend too, but I'm gonna see her in a month, so didn't feel the need. These were super fun to make. I felt like a little kid making little valentines. I will mail them with some cookies. I usually make my friends cookies for holidays, and so they'll get some heart-shaped cookies along with their Valentine's Day scratch-offs. And so if you have long-distance internet friends or long-distance friends, long-distance family, these are fun. My boyfriend's options are, more things that can be done virtually. The only thing that isn't be able to do virtually on my best friend's one is dinner, which I think I will perpetually owe him because we rarely see each other. But these were super fun. Again, I'll link them somewhere for free if you want to try and make them yourself. Again, just printable on 4x6. You just tape down a card, you tape down a coin, you print these out, write down some prizes, stick some tape, and then as you can see, then you just paint over the tape, and you'll probably have to do a couple coats. I'm using like that really shitty Artist's Loft paint from Michaels. So it was really sheer at first, as you can see. But you just do a couple of coats, and then if you mess up around the edges, again, it's a scratch off. Just scratch it with your finger and it'll be fine. But I really like to do things for holidays. I did not have, especially like little holidays, I'm not a big Christmas person. I am a big Halloween person. I love Halloween. But I'm not big on Thanksgiving. I actually hate Thanksgiving, mostly because I don't hate Thanksgiving. I hate Black Friday, and I hate Black Friday month. I hate that part of it, and I'm not really a Christmas person. But little holidays like Valentine's Day or anniversaries, I really like. They just feel a little more intimate and a little bit smaller. I even used to really like Easter as a kid. But I didn't have the best holidays growing up. So I find now as an adult, I really like little holidays. I follow sometimes, occasionally, depending on the year, different like wheel of the year holidays, like the spring equinox, summer solstice, autumn equinox, winter solstice. I prefer to kind of celebrate things like that. They feel more mine. They feel more less traumatizing. So yeah, I love little holidays, and I love doing cutesy little, I love making them special, right? You know, like, we should make everything special. We should make so many things special, and we don't. And it's very funny because my boyfriend comes from a family where like holidays are fine, but like they're not really celebrated. Like they just kind of hang out all day. They don't really do anything. And he does not like Valentine's Day because he thinks it's like a capitalist holiday, which, to be fair, I agree. But I also really like in the past few years how it's become more of like a Galentine's Day for the girlies. Guys probably don't do anything for each other. But it's like a holiday for the girls, okay? And I love it. I'm here for it. So we are pro Valentine's Day in this house. And I hope you get the chance to spend some time with some girlfriends, some guy friends, drink some wine if you're of age. Most people listening are. Yeah, buy yourself some chocolate, make yourself some cookies, live your life. But these are about finished now. They do fit into like regular size envelopes. I think you would just have to do 2 stamps instead of 1 because of the penny. Plus, I am all for giving the post office extra money. I always overstamp. I know I don't need to, but I do. But I think these should be 1 or 2 stamps in the US for mailing purposes, just because of the penny, the weight. Support your local post offices, guys. If you ever get stupid mail, like the prepaid credit card mail or whatever, or, you know, those like companies that send you like, oh, send this back and receive whatever, just send an empty envelope back and use the company's like pre-provided stamps. It'll cost the company money, but it'll give the post office free money. We're hopping into the Commonplace page. I have been putting off Commonplacing. I just haven't. Wow, please no cat hair, please, okay, on my arm. One time I posted a video a long time ago, before I was doing Commonplace videos, and my sweater was covered in cat hair and dog hair. And like all of the comments on the video were like, that's disgusting. Like, use a lint roller. I was like, bitch, I'm at home. I have a white fur cat. I'm wearing a black hoodie. I can't help it. This is why I don't wear black. That's part of the reason I don't wear black, is because I have a white fur cat. But also I just don't like black. I think it shows lint so easily. I have a vivid memory, though. We had a dog growing up who was white and black. He had white and black fur. And I remember I was wearing black leggings and a white shirt. And he was sitting on me in the car, and he finally like got up and moved, and I looked down and my legs were covered in white fur and my shirt was covered in black fur. So I'm well aware that there's probably cat fur everywhere that you just can't see it. But yeah, we've been putting off commonplacing a little bit. I haven't really been finding much to commonplace about. Again, I've kind of just been in my hellhole of reading and writing, trying to see how long I can get that to last, because it's very enjoyable. I like that little cave that I've made for myself. Added playing some Switch to that as well. So not a lot to commonplace about. I've been feeling very disenchanted and disconnected from like the spiritual communities online. just because to me it comes so easily in my day-to-day, I don't feel the need to talk about it with other people. And most of the things I can find these days are images. I have been having a hard time finding text to Commonplace about, but these deer are so cute. I love this image, little deer in water. Oh, I love it. So this page is about humming. You might ask why. Where did that come from? I was feeling anxious one day, and so I went for an anti-anxiety walk and was still feeling anxious. So then I was like, okay, step 2, if that doesn't work, is usually take a hot shower with the lights off and a couple of candles lit and some spa music. So we got in the shower to do that, and I just felt the urge to just go like, you know, I'm not a singer, okay? I don't pretend I know how to sing, but like, that was like instinctual to me. And I was like, okay, interesting. So I just kind of let my body do it. When I tell you my body had never felt more grounded and calm afterwards, like than it has in a long time. Usually I need, weird, usually I need my therapist to help me get that calm. Kind of in a state of like, if you've ever done yoga or experienced runner's high or gotten in really deep meditation and you feel almost like you're high, but you're not, like you're completely dead ass sober. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm so calm. I'm high on life. This is great. So then I went to look it up. I was like, I'm sure this is a thing, because in New Age communities, there's a lot of mantra chanting. And I think Buddhism and Hinduism, there's a lot of like mantra chanting of like, there's Om Mani Padme Hum, which I probably said wrong, but there's like quite a few things that you can like hum or chant or mantras during meditation or ritual or whatever. And it's a thing apparently that reduces stress in your parasympathetic system or nervous system, which is exactly what helps calm down anxiety and gives you that high on life feeling. So it was very interesting for me to discover, and then I went and talked about it with my therapist, and she was like, yep, that's a thing. And so we were talking about it. So I decided to Commonplace about it. I have one study, and then I have one, it's like I found a weird company that just offers like humming soundtracks. But they had a lot of information too on like the science behind it. So printed out a few pages and enjoyed myself with this spread. I have two sides. Okay, I have 3 sides. I lied. I have 3 sides. I have the side that you're going to see in this spread, which usually comes out in spring and summer, that loves blue and green. Specifically the blues and the greens that you're seeing on screen, like that very like candy, fresh leaves, tulip stem green, forest leaves green, kind of like you see in the intro. And that like really sky blue or water blue. I love that color scheme. I think it's because that's how my childhood room was decorated, so I think it has left an imprint on me, whether I like it or not. And I usually find myself drawn to these colors just at different periods of the year. It seems to always start to come back at spring. And also that very pastel pink of that tulip up there. I love pink. I love all shades of pink all year round, but going with this kind of blue-green is this like pastel pink that I usually love. And then I have the side of me that you saw in the valentines that loves pink and red, burgundy, red, a more saturated, not Barbie pink. I don't really like Barbie pink, but like a pink and red scheme. And that usually is like a year-round thing. But in the winter, or towards autumn and winter, it will shift more towards like that darker pink and burgundy, like a wine red burgundy. So those are my 3 sides. I have the wintry side of me that loves burgundy and modern home decor and straight lines. Weird coming out of my mouth. And then I have the spring girly side of me that loves bright blue and bright green and pastel pink and loves wicker furniture and cottagecore and imperfect and vintage things and She usually comes out around spring, so her time is coming with this good weather we've been having. She's been coming out a lot. I'm sure I'm not the only one who kind of feels like that. We all have the memes where like it's the two sides and one of them's goth and one of them's girly. Mine is just pink and green or burgundy red. Those are my options. But I say that because this spread ended up very blue and green. And I ended up loving this spread. I have not been so attached to a spread in a while. And I don't know why. It was hitting. And I did not expect to like something like this. I can see myself looking back at this in like 6 months or around winter next year and being like, ugh, this is not the vibe. But it's the vibe now. It is everything now. Another fun fact about me in regards to this like pink versus red, this winter versus spring thing, I have different blankets that I use throughout the year. And I have a pink one, which is kind of the color of the pink tulip you see on the screen. And then I have the exact same blanket, the exact same one, in a wine red burgundy. And I pull out the burgundy one as soon as it gets cold, and I use that when it gets cold. And then I pull out the pink one every time it gets to be warmer. And I oscillate between those two. Don't know why I do. Please let me know down in the comments if you also do something like that, if you find yourself acting completely different and having different interests based on the weather. And that's cool. If you've ever heard of parts work, if you are someone who does that, if you feel like you have 2 or 3 different sides to yourself, and they come out at different times or are triggered by different things. I don't mean trigger in like a psychological bad sense. I mean that in like a, just cause and effect. And different situations or different people or different whatever cause these like different sides of you to come to the surface. And yeah, I encourage you to explore parts work because you might find some very interesting things, and some very fun things. And you might find, like, that used to bother me, right? I was like, why can't I just fit into one aesthetic? Which is also a whole other can of worms. And we have about maybe 5 minutes left in the video, so we do not have time to get into the whole why aesthetics can be bad can of worms. We don't have time for that. But it used to really bother me. I was like, everyone just has one aesthetic, everyone has one vibe. Everything is so aesthetic and kind of core driven these days. Why can't, like, I almost felt like I didn't know who I was because I didn't fit into like a neat little box of aesthetic or one kind of core or whatever. And through parts work, I learned that's because we are all very multifaceted. We all have very different sides to ourselves. And that's fine. And that can bring you a lot of peace of knowing that you don't have to fit in one box. You're allowed to be this multifaceted person, and have different interests and have different aesthetics and oscillate between all of them and go back and forth and mix and match. And in a way, you kind of end up forming your own very unique, specific aesthetic. Like, people still see things and send them to me or show me things and are like, this is so Erica. And like, then I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is so Erica? And they can't describe it. They're like, it just is you. Like, this is something you'd like. And I really confuse the crap out of my family because I hate patterns. I do not wear patterns. But then every once in a while I will see a pattern and I'm like, yep, I'm going to cater my entire personality around this. Poppy Fields by Vera Bradley is one of those patterns. I just got a bright pink dress thrifted from Free People, and it is bright pink and like orange and purple and very patterned. My family was like, you liked this? And I'm like, yeah. So it's okay that we can be unexpected. It's okay that we have these different parts, and then it's okay if we have like quote unquote fantasy selves. Like, we can let those fantasy selves live on in like our brain. We don't have to force them to happen in real life, but every once in a while, if we find that they're knocking on our head door and want some attention, we can dress like them for a day, and that's fine. We don't have to, or act like them for a day if you don't want to hold on to clothes. I'm a minimalist. I have a capsule wardrobe. I don't dress for my fantasy selves because I don't have that. But if one day my fantasy editor self wants to come out, I will spend the entire day editing old books or sitting at my computer typing and pretending I am her because she wants some attention then. But other times, you know, the girly pink and blue Erica wants to come out and wants to go for a picnic, and we'll go for a picnic. Like, most of the time that fantasy editor self lives rent-free in the back of my head. She doesn't bother anyone. She lives in her own alternate reality, probably somewhere in New York, with a big job at some skyscraper, and that is okay. That is a dream that I will never enact in real life. I can still have a part of me that wants that has that dream, but it's also okay that I do absolutely nothing about it, because I know that's a part of me, not my core self. So anyway, this video is kind of just encouraging you to do parts work. If you find that you are torn between a lot of dreams, if you are torn between a lot of aesthetics or styles, and you feel a little lost, or you kind of relate to that feeling of like, oh, during this time of year I feel like this kind of person, or around these people I feel like this kind of person, and it changes, I highly encourage parts work. It's very enlightening, very interesting, and very fun. It's not something that has to be so serious and like dark and shadow work and therapy heavy. It can just be something fun of realizing that we have these different parts and getting to know them. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Let me know if you like this spread as much as I do, because it didn't get as much attention on Tumblr. I think because it wasn't a scan, but I love this. So that's that. I hope you guys have an absolutely lovely day, because you guys 100% deserve it, and I will see you guys next week.